What's up, good people? Bernard Riley back in here with another one for you. You saw what I put in the title and the thumbnail and everything. How I said Ricky Smiley took the red pill. So I'm going to be breaking down the video. I want to first shout out Pablo Fresco Bar, one of my Patreons. You see the Patreon scrolling down there. Pablo Fresco Bar, one of my first Patreons, came through, dropped me this video. So I want to shout out to him. Let's get into it. Ricky Smiley took the red pill. Let's go.
Oh, Ricky.
I'm telling you, even in the family, you can't correct a niece, you can't correct a nephew. I told my sister, when I'm talking to my nephew, if you can't handle it, you need to get out and go in another room because it takes iron to sharpen iron. And I'll never let a woman oversee me correcting a man, because when my daughters got their period, I stepped out of the room. That's not my place. I don't use the pad, right?
Whew, we got to stop it right there. That may not seem like a huge issue, but if you've experienced it, you know exactly what it is. Now, my mom was cool. She's a solid mom, solid grandmother, but she used to drop the ball when it came to what he just described right there. She used to do that all the time. I would be disciplining my son. I'd be getting in his grip, getting in his face about something. She come running in there. She got to oversee it. Even with I hate to even be going there, I always say this all the time, say I'm gonna stop bringing it up, but this is kind of like ex-wife used to do that. It was a thing. Father disciplines son, somebody else come in, a woman in the family wants to come in and discipline the man who's disciplining his son. That was actually a thing. That actually happens. You have no idea what you're doing to the psyche of that boy. So young boys, they need to see the voice of their father as that they're hearing from the Lord on high. They're hearing that voice. That's the voice that they need to hear in their head, the unquestioned voice. They need to hear it in their head. When they about to do something wrong, they need to hear that father's voice. They don't need to hear objection to it. Completely cripple a boy by speaking against his father's direction in front of him. I used to plead with them, like, get out of the room. Don't even be anywhere near it. If you see it happening, I don't care what you're hearing that you don't like. Talk to me after the fact and say, hey, I think you maybe was too hard on this, on him about, you maybe too hard on him about this. Well, did you consider this right here? You know, you think about this. So like next time in that situation, just average this into the if had they done that, no problem. But to try to correct me while I'm correcting him, you will cripple a boy for life doing that.
And I'll never let a woman oversee me correcting a man, because when my daughters got their period, I stepped out of the room. That's not my place. I don't use a pad, right? So that's their mother's job to teach them how to use a pad, a sanitary napkin, and to be a woman. So when I'm talking to my son, I don't need no female interference. If you can't handle what a football coach is doing on the football field, if you can't take it, then you need to leave practice and drop them off and leave.
Right, I get that, Ricky, but I feel like the problem, because what you're angling
Hold
is a lot
up.
of women. Men aren't been in a lot.
Hold up. Y'all heard him. Y'all heard him coming out the gate. You already know this is about to go wrongly. When he's talking about some, well, Ricky, I feel like you already know.
Beta.
All right. That was probably unnecessary. Let's wait a minute. But him starting out with that, I feel like already problematic.
Right, I get that, Ricky, but I feel like the problem, because what you're angling is a lot of women. Men aren't been in the lives of these women, so men ain't around to help control. So if men ain't around, then women got to do that. Women ain't built to take care of raise a boy.
Pierre, it's a new day. Fathers are here. Fathers are here to stay. They got all kind of fathers' rights movements. I go to them. I'm a part of it. I had to go to court to get custody of my son. I had custody of all my kids. I raised my kids. Right? There are so many dads out there, and the reason some of them there are deadbeat dads, but the reason, you know why the reason a lot of them are not there?
Why?
Because they're being undermined and kept away from by the mother because the relationship didn't work out.
Now, I like that he said he went through that court to get custody of his kids. Anybody who have been through that battle know exactly what it is. I've talked to multiple attorneys on my channel. They say the majority of the time in a divorce, this is when the kids were born into a marriage. That father is trying to get at least 50-50 custody. The woman is fighting against him getting 50-50 custody. She want him reduced down to every other weekend and maybe a Wednesday from 5 to 8. Basically, when you add it all up, he's basically being with the kid 4 days out of the month, maybe 4.5 days out of the month if you add the 3 hours on Wednesday, which means he's probably only going to be seeing the kids 10% of the time, but it's going to take on 100% of the blame when that child does not turn out right. And if you've been in the trenches in that system trying to get at least 50-50 custody and see exactly how hard it is for a man to get it, you know exactly where Ricky Smiley is coming from.
Didn't work out.
Okay.
And that's a fact. I can give
Really?
you stats on that. It's so many fathers' rights movement. It's so many judges that's being so unfair to men. Why do we have to get fucking?
No, all right.
Why do we have to get visitation for a child that's 50% ours? Why does some white man sitting on the bench get to tell a black man that he get to only see his son every first and third weekend? Is that fair?
Well, no, hold on.
All right, now Ricky cooking, but one slight amendment. When it comes to that one, they don't really see race when it comes to that one. When it comes to that one, no, it's across the board. Men of all races getting screwed all the same in there. And I mentioned before how with the husbands that are getting put through it, you know, just the guy who wasn't married, just the baby daddy, you know, he got it 10 times harder. You know, he got it 10 times harder because he was never even married. So they're just going to look at him, some dude who just slinging some semen around. They're not even going to give him half the consideration of a husband. So that's amplified times 10. But the only thing I'll say that even though, yeah, the optics of it is messed up. The optics of it is messed up when you're a brother in there and you're a black man. Your black woman right there, you're trying to get access to your child, and she's fighting to prevent your access. Now, she's going to call you a deadbeat if you're not there, but if you're fighting to get more access, she's going to fight you from getting that access. But remember, you're a deadbeat if you're not there. But when you fight to be there, she fights you. And the optics of it is messed up when you look up and you see, yes, in most cases, even though it's changing, it's changing, but in most cases, a lot of cases, yeah, the optics of it ain't right. You look up, you see that see a white man right there telling you what you can't do. The optics was horrible. A black woman right here, black man right there. He fighting for 50-50 custody of his kids. She got a white male lawyer. I got a white female lawyer fighting for me, and then a white male judge. When we got to another part of it, when they was breaking down the money, it was a black male judge. He was just shaking his head at all of that stuff. But the optics of it is terrible. But once we get past just the optics, it's like that across the board. That fathers of all races are in that same fight. We're all brothers in arms when it comes to just trying to get 50-50 custody of some children that are genetically 50% ours. But Ricky cooking, go ahead.
Why does some white man sitting on the bench get to tell a black man that he get to only see his son every first and third weekend? Is that fair?
Well, no, hold on. But how about you and the woman ain't got no relationships or got a bad relationship? You can't just pop up when you want to.
Oh,
she has a life to live too. So if I'm raising a child, I'm a female.
Night.
You just can't say on Saturday, 12 o'clock, I'm coming over. Like, hold on, I got things to do too. So how do you make that work? If me and the woman ain't together or on the same page, somebody got to set the boundaries. You can come over between this and this.
What I'm saying is it should be more than first and third weekend.
Boom.
2 weeks in the summer. That's standard visitation in most states.
He's sitting there saying, well, if y'all can't agree, somebody got to set the boundaries, as if to somebody who set the boundaries is setting it fair in the best interest of the child. As if they're really doing that. Come on, man. This is the problem. This is why we can't take our foot off the gas. That's why we have to keep talking about this. It's not about even convincing women. We got to convince men to just get on board. We got to convince the men to get on board. The women who stand up and fight for women, they don't get that much pushback from women. But when the men speak up for men, who's their biggest detractor? It's not even women, it's men. I don't get triggered and amped up and too much, but these are the ones that just my blood boil when I see men operating like that. It gets my blood boiling. I ain't gonna lie.
Right?
Right.
Because if a child 14, 15, 16 years old, what the hell is person 30? That's 24. How many hours? That's 48 hours. 48 hours in a month.
Yep, just like I just said. Yep, it's basically it's basically 4 days. And if you get Wednesday from 5 to 8, they'll add up those 3 hours times 4. That's 4.5 days out of the month. We're talking about roughly 90. We're talking about roughly 10% of the month. He gonna take more than 90% of. She got the kid 90% of the time. He gonna take more than 90% of the blame if the child doesn't turn out right.
For a man to be trying to raise his son.
Right. I mean,
and it's not fair.
As long as the man wants to be in a relationship, it wants to be there.
Absolutely, but most men do.
Really?
Absolutely, Pierre. I'm telling you, I've been out there with them.
Okay.
I've been a part of the father's rights movement. I had to work hard to get custody of my son. I have custody of my grandson.
Right.
My grandson 5 years old, not because his mother won't or whatever, but he got daddy issues. He never met his dad before, but his mother feel like I think you should raise him because he's going to be a man, and I like the way I was raised, and I want you to have the same thing for him because I can't do it like you.
Right.
It is a rarity nowadays. That a woman will actually look at it like that. A lot of them look at it, even though that was a situation where it was his daughter handing her child over to him. Her and the father wasn't together. So I don't even know what went wrong with the father, with the biological father. That's a whole nother issue. But she was raising that child, and she gave it to the granddad. She gave it to the granddad. She gave it to Ricky Smiley. That's a situation where she's understanding that if this boy is going to turn out to be a halfway decent man, I need to give him to a man. I need to not block the access to any man in his life. Now, maybe if it was the father, because that's where they get emotional, and that's where it goes back to that relationship failed, and then now the relationship failed, and then in the mind of many of them, you're not with me, you're not with the child. That's how a lot of them operate. I just recently heard a woman. I was sitting out to eat at a restaurant. It was 2 women. They were sitting there together, and one of them was talking, and she was just talking about how she just needs some help. He paid child support. She said it was a real small amount, and it was something that would need to get done for school or this. She's like, I'm not even asking for half. I'm just asking him to just give something, just offer something. I want, she's coming with that kind of energy. But I wonder if that same man would say, you know what? I'll offer you half. I'll offer you 50-50. 1 week with me, 1 week with you. I'll offer you the ultimate child support. That's what I call it. They want child support. They want you to support your child. But when you offer what I call the ultimate child support, 1 week on, 1 week off, they will fight tooth and nail to prevent that. Well, you can't support a child more than when he's with you. Half the time, you take care of him and cover his expenses for the time that he's with you. She covers the expenses for the time that the child is with her. You can't offer better child support. They will reject the ultimate child support. Will complain about not getting enough of the child support that coincides with the dad not being in the life of the child, giving the child the support that it actually needs. But that's going to wrap it up right there. That's the video. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate everybody. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. And we are out of here. Peace.